Guys, today we're going to do an install of the Leupold Delta Point Pro on the Sig Sauer P320 X Compact. Did a couple videos on this variation that Sig is putting out. Did the regular 320, and now this is the 320 X Compact. Great guns. I like living that dot life, so I'm putting a DPP on here. If you don't like the Leupold Delta Point, these guns will also accept the Romeo 1 micro red dot. This is a relatively straightforward process, but it is a little bit unique when we're comparing installs of micro red dots on other handguns. So make sure the gun is unloaded. There's no ammunition in the area. Don't want to have an ND. So first we're going to take off the slide, and that's locking the slide to the rear, flipping down the takedown lever, and then we're going to hit the slide stop, and the slide's going to come right off, just like that. You can set this to the side, the frame to the side. As you can see, in here is the actual internal receiver. This is the serialized part of the handgun, so if you wanted to switch out different frame sizes, go up or down in size, you can just remove this from the inside of the frame, drop it in something else without having to buy a whole new gun. Take your recoil spring out, set that aside, take your barrel out, and here's where we get into the unique part of the 320X Compact. There's a plate on top with the rear sight. To remove this plate and rear sight, you need to go from underneath the slide. And there are two screws in there that we need to remove. You can't just go ahead and remove them. You have to remove the plunger and the back plate, well, the back plate first and then the plunger to get to those screws. After you get those screws out of there, this plate should come off. So let's do that. Okay, let's just remove the back plate and the plunger. To do that, we're gonna just take some sort of tool. This is basically just like a Glock tool. And you're gonna press that plunger, keeping your thumb over the back plate so all those springs and stuff don't just come ripping out of there when you move it. And this might be tough to see, but you're just gonna push that back plate down. It's gonna come right out. There's your back plate, and your striker assemblies in there, and your plunger. You're gonna need to take that plunger out so we can get to the screw. And when you do take this out, be aware your extractor might fall out as well, because that pressure was keeping that in there. But if it does fall out, just set it to the side. It's not a big deal. No need to get wound up about it. So let's now take those two screws out in there with our Allen key so we can remove that plate. There we go. There's one. I'm just going to unwind that. There's the first one. Came right out. And then let's get the next one out. As you can see, there is blue thread locker on those screws. So again, to break them free is going to be a little tough, but once you get them going, it shouldn't be a problem. Second screw is broken free. And as you do this, you're going to feel the rear sight just kind of drop off, because that's what was holding it in. So there's your rear sight, pops right off the back. And honestly, guys, I've said this in other videos about these guns. The sights that come on these SIGs are really great. They're steel, high-vis front, blacked out rear, just great sights. Oh, and they do have tritium vials in the back. Not that I care too much about that, but the majority of the rear is blacked out. That's what I do care about. It's not distracting or too busy. I really like these sights. I'm gonna roll the slide over. Now, be advised on this part, you wanna take this plate off carefully. There's pieces, little tiny pieces underneath here. You feel this chamber indicator right here. It's spring loaded. So you just kind of want to work this plate off with your hand. It might not come straight off, but nice and gently, see? And you can see there's two little teeth here. That's what was keeping the plate down. But just remove that plate and set it to the side. And as you can see, we have a nice clean area to install our DPP. I'm just going to wipe this area down, kind of degrease it a little bit, remove any moisture that may be under there. It doesn't look like there's much, but there's a little bit of oil. And then we're going to install the Delta Point Pro. Okay, let's throw on the DPP. The DPP is going to have two Torx screws in the back And if you read the manual on the Delta Point Pro, these should be torqued to 25 inch-pounds. If you have the tools to do this, I highly recommend torquing them to spec. You never want to over tighten these screws because you can strip them very, very easily. And this goes pretty much for any micro red dot out there. The screws are a real weak point when it comes to these sights. So you want to make sure they're snug. Maybe a little bit of thread locker on them, which these do have, is a good idea. And just make sure they're snug down to the best of your ability, not over tightened. Again, we're going to tighten those down just snugly. Again, if you have a Torx driver, it's probably going to be better because then you can hit 25 inch-pounds right on the head. For the purpose of this video, I'll just show how to tighten down. Again, you don't want to overdo it with these, just so it's nice and flush on there. Just get to the point of resistance and then just a little further. And it's installed. Now we got to put this slide back together. We'll be good to go. Okay, when reassembling your slide, it is important that this cutout of the plunger is facing up towards you when you're putting it back in. So the slide is upside down and the cutout is facing up. Slide in just like that. Now we're going to push all this down and slide our plate in. Just going to get our stuff back in there, our plate lined up. Just kind of take your plate and press it on the back of the striker. Press down a little bit, and you can kind of line up the notches and stick it in just like that. Press your plunger in, and then slide the rest of the plate up. And you're good to go. Everything's flush. Everything's installed. Take your barrel, recoil spring. All right, take your complete slide and your frame, put them back on one another, lock it to the rear, flip up your takedown lever, send the slide. Now we're gonna function check. Sounds good. Let it reset. Good. One more time. Reset. Good. Full press. Good. Yep. Looks like we're good to go. So that's how you install your Delta Point Pro on top of your Sig Sauer P320 X Compact. And to my knowledge, the rest of the variants of the 320 line install very similar. So again, these slides are only compatible with the Sig line of micro red dots and the Leupold Delta Point Pro. These slides will not accept the Trijicon RMR line of micro red dots. So maybe in the future they will, but for now, I'm going to run this DPP on top of this. I'm a big fan of this dot. This dot has been on multiple guns. It has a lot of rounds through it, and it's still going strong. I can't say enough good things about Leupold optics. This micro red dot has been awesome. Awesome little dot. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like button, and we'll see you on the next video.